Rugby Illuminati.
Yeah, is this Rugby Illuminati?
Yes, it is. I thought I blocked your number. I'm not seeing any more England games, not after the last time. You sent me to go and watch the Fiji game and we got defeated.
Oh, no, it's different this time. I've been taking me a break for me mental health. And I want you to go see your boys. I'm torn. I don't know if I want Daddy to win or if I want the boys to win. And I need you to go as well and give some analysis.
Fine. Okay. All right. Anything else in particular?
No, not really. I've been in England camp myself, to be honest with you. I'm a bit concerned about Borthwick and his tactics. I think he's going to have the boys too fired up. So yeah, I just need you to keep an eye on them.
All right. Sounds good. I'm going to enjoy this one.
It's a much easier kick. Marcus Smith!
Yes. I was at the game and England beat Ireland very, very narrowly. And I didn't see it coming. I had Ireland to win by 10 points like everybody else did. I don't know, I've seen sparks of England being able to do this. I think we've seen South Africa game in the World Cup, second half of the Fiji game, bits and pieces in the Scotland game, but not massively consistent. I was hopeful that maybe they could put performance together like this, but I never trusted it was going to happen. I guess years of average play makes you kind of lose faith. I mean, even now, I still don't think we're a solid team. There's a lot of work to be done, but it's huge, and it's very, very impressive what they did. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what happened, right? I think England's blitz defence, and this was shared with me with a friend of mine, who I'm going to call the founding father. He got in touch with me and he said it's almost like England's blitz defence is made for Ireland's attack. And I couldn't agree more. Ireland's attack relies a lot on using forwards to break over the gain line, using the same channel, going forwards, pick and go, forwards, pick and go, forwards. And when you have a blitz defence, it has defenders attacking from the outside and hitting a defender on their outside, and it nulls their momentum and it kills them getting over the gain line. And if Ireland aren't allowed to do that, and they can't keep hitting the same channel over and over again, it doesn't allow the space to open up out wide where their wingers ultimately score. Their attack is built off of getting quick phase ball, breaking the line, and then passing it all the way to the outside and getting it over to their wingers to usually have a lot of space. And we saw it a couple of times. The few times where the blitz defence was broken is when Ireland scored. England executed that defence perfectly. In attack, I looked at the team sheet beforehand and I was pleasantly surprised with the tactics that they went with. They obviously went with guys that would be good with ball in hand. George Furbank at fullback rather than Freddie Stuart tells me that they were picking players with the intention to have possession, run the ball. And I thought that even if they try that and they fail, at least they're trying to beat Ireland at their own game. And we saw that today. Feyi-Waboso on the wing, again, another great selection. Tommy Freeman, I thought was great. Hopefully he's not too injured. Ollie Lawrence, I thought, this was his performance that we've all been waiting for him in England. His performances at Bath this year have just been sensational. I thought he was fantastic. A great direct runner, but also great in the loose play. And when things got chaotic, made the right decisions. His try fending off Crowley in the corner was fantastic. The forward pack. It was a forward pack that was picked to be mobile. You saw that with the selection of Chessum at 6. You saw that with George Martin coming into the team, a true grafter who I think is really making a name for himself, and I'm glad he plays for Leicester. Ben Earl as well has to be mentioned. I mean, the only criticism I had of Ben Earl coming into this Six Nations as an out-and-out true 8, I wanted him to play 8, but I never thought he was that much of a powerful runner. I've done a little bit of research and watched some pre-game amble of a couple of England games, and he had an interview and he talked about him really trying to work on his ball-carrying ability, and boy, have we seen that. I mean, he's always had the turnover game that's great, that he can play 7. He's always been all around the park like a 7 would be. He's also great at tackling like a 6 would be. But he's really worked on that ball carrying that makes him a complete 8 that England maybe have lacked. I was crying out for Barbary to be part of this squad because I felt like we didn't have a powerful ball runner. And I think Ben Hull has proven me very wrong in this game. On to Ireland. And where did it all go wrong? I felt like it was a team that, in their own admission, I think, struggled to get into the game. They were under pressure. They went down early. And they just struggled to get into a flow in their game. They showed acts of brilliance, and that's what kept them on the scoreboard. But I think any neutral would be fair to say that they were not allowed to play their game plan. And I think it goes back to the old Mike Tyson phrase of everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. I got badly criticised for saying that Ireland were great against France, but it was more France not turning up than Ireland playing fantastically. You can see that there's a lot of passionate Irish fans out there, and I understand it. I mean, your team's great. You're number 1 in the world, in my opinion. You could beat anybody, and any team would have to have a great day to really compete with you. I'm saying New Zealand or South Africa, if they turn up at your doorstep and they're not ready to play, they will lose. But Ireland have not been challenged until this point. And I think the comments that I made for the France game have really been validated by seeing France's performances today. I mean, I'm recording this video while I'm watching France play Wales today, and there's echoes of what France were in the World Cup, but they're not the same. They should have lost against Italy. And yeah, I mean, they should have lost against Scotland as well, in my opinion. This is Ireland's first real challenge since the World Cup. It's interesting. I don't know if they have a separate game plan that they can really put in practice if things don't go right. They seem to have their direct attacking style that they have, and the defence is always going to be solid. There's nothing that you really need to change there. But in attack, if they run out of that idea, they don't really have a plan B. And it's almost starting to feel like, in a more intense way, because they're better than Eddie Jones's England. Once Eddie Jones's England's tactics got figured out, then the question became, can they adjust and change their game plan? Now, with Eddie Jones's England, they weren't able to do that, and I think it was the ultimate demise of Eddie Jones. Ireland now, when they're challenged, like England have challenged them, they have to find another way to play rugby. They need to find another style. They need to be able to change the game plan. They can't rely on game time planning around what they want to do. Sometimes they're going to have to play what's in front of them. And I think they really struggle with that today. I think Peter O'Mahony did not help the team with what was obviously a blatant card on the floor, cynical play. I think he maybe thought he could get away with it because Ireland's defence with 14 men is only a little bit less than what it is with 15 men. England were just so on form today that they managed to take advantage of that, which most teams can't, to be fair. So I think Immanuel knew what he was doing, and he calculated that taking the card at that point was probably worth it. I would say that Ireland's scrum should have been more rewarded for what they were doing. I think the referee took a policy, and some referees do this, so I don't think it's necessarily a terrible thing, but some referees just want the ball out of the scrum. So if they see an opposition scrum dominate, but it collapses, but the ball's at the back of the scrum, they want to keep the game playing. And they allowed England, even though that their scrum got screwed a few times, just to get the ball out. And I had to give Ireland that. If it was a different referee on a different day, we might have seen more penalties go to Ireland because they were dominant in the scrum, and I don't think there's any doubt about that. Spoken about various backs, I thought Furbank was better than people gave him credit for. He still has knock-ons in attack that just can't be made. I mean, these mistakes at this level can't be made, but I thought it was really promising, and I can see what Borthwick's doing in terms of bringing him into the squad. It's very similar to, I think, why he brought Marcus Smith on at fullback against Fiji. I think when you want to play more of a possession-style rugby and you want to run back at the opposition in terms of counter-attacks, Furbank's your man for that. If you want to play more the numbers, more the territory, kind of playing in the right areas of the pitch, Freddie Stuart is that option as well. And I know this is a bit of a bum deal for Freddie Stuart. He's played so well, but I really think that if you've got these two assets of two players that play the same position, but they do two very different things, why not use them for the different situations? For your Islands, your Scotlands, anyone that, taking possession away from them really helps, why not play Furbank and attack? The other side of it, if you're playing your South Africas, if you're playing maybe Italy, why not play Stuart, someone who's better under the high ball and will give you more consistent territory and put you in the right areas of the pitch to play rugby. So that's fine. I do feel bad for Stuart, but at the end of the day, if you've got two great 15s, why not use them? I think George Ford was really good in attack, but man, he left so many points on the board, right? He missed multiple penalty kicks. His kicking out of hand, I don't think was great in terms of territory either. And I would kind of like to see Marcus Smith start next week instead of George Ford. I'm a big fan of George Ford. I'm a Leicester fan. When he was at Leicester, I love watching him play. When he's been playing for Sale, I've loved watching him play. And I feel bad saying this because he didn't play badly, but I think the major difference between what you're expecting out of George Ford and Marcus Smith is that George Ford is going to kick your percentages. He's going to be better at territory in terms of kicking. He's going to be better at hitting for the goalposts. Marcus Smith's better in attack. So if George Ford isn't giving you that element of his game, maybe it's time to bring Marcus Smith in. And there were a lot of rumours that at the beginning of the Six Nations, Marcus Smith would be the fly half to start for England. He got a calf injury, and therefore he was ruled out of the first game. Maybe this is a chance in the last game of the Six Nations, bring Marcus Smith in, let him have the start that he was supposedly going to have at the beginning of the Six Nations, and see how the team gels around him. Because I definitely think when Smith came on, the attack looked really on fire. I thought it was great. Being in the stadium was different. Twickenham's, and quite rightly so, mainly been criticised for not being behind the team. It is bad. It needs to improve, and it did improve, and I'm hoping this is a turning point for being at Twickenham. I've been there a few times, and the atmosphere was different. Everyone was behind England because they saw what they were trying to do. They saw the intent, the heart, the vision, the confidence fronting up to Ireland, who is the best team in the world. And I just hope that continues as well. It was truly electric in there. And comments of the players after the game, I think, were evidence of that. I've talked a lot about England. I think I need to talk a bit more about Ireland. This is probably a coming-of-age game for Jack Crowley, who I feel like's probably had a bit of an armchair ride up until this point. It's not a slate of his gameplay. He's been excellent. I mean, he's done everything asked of him and more. He's been great, 8, 9 out of 10. But this is a smack in the face. And if he wants to be in the future, he's got a long career and a long time to go. If he wants to be considered amongst the greats, such as Ronan O'Gara, such as Johnny Sexton, he's got to learn to take games like this at the scruff of the neck and dictate play. And I didn't see that. There were multiple occasions where Sexton and O'Gara did this for Ireland in the past, where, and I especially think this in this game, I think the beginning of the first half was a bit crazy. It was all over the place. There was chaos, try here, penalty there, England very dominant. But there was a middle part, I think, from the last 10 minutes of the first half, and they did score a try, Ireland, so give them credit for that, but into kind of like, there was like this period in the middle of the game for 30 or 40 minutes where it needed someone at fly half just to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And it was up for England or Ireland of doing that. And that would be a time in the past I think Sexton would have stepped in, started bossing it, and would have gotten Ireland rolling. Jack Crowley needs to learn to do that. He's still young. He's got a lot of time to do that, but I didn't see that from him today. Conor Murray obviously came on. That was because of the choice to go for a 6-2 on the bench, which I always queried for Ireland. I didn't think it was the best decision because they don't really act as a bomb squad. They're more like a technical specialists. They're not like a second engine that you can bring on like South Africa are. They're very much like scrummaging specialists and the like. So, yeah, I mean, they got caught flat-footed with it, with having 2 injuries in the backs. They were unlucky. Conor Murray, he just, I don't know, he felt like it was clunky. He made obviously that box kick that everyone's talking about, which set up England to score and win in the end. So something that maybe they want to look at and maybe not have a 6-2 bench. I don't know if it really works for Ireland very well. Bundee and Robbie Henshaw, I think they played well. Bundee definitely put in a shift. Some of his turnovers were superb. Henshaw, a bit of a quieter game for me. Maybe this is where we see Ringrose come back into the squad because you're just kind of waiting for Henshaw to have like an average game for Ringrose to be brought back into the fold. Henshaw kept him out because he's just been playing so well. James Lowe, always great. I mean, even when the team loses, he's spectacular and always dangerous. He was fantastic. And yeah, I mean, that's it really. It was such an emotional win, especially with England being written off so many times in the media, and I'm a bit of a Borthwick stan, as I've said in previous videos, and I felt like I've been watching what he's been trying to build, and this feels like the culmination of that. I'm still not like feeling we're here, this is it, you know, it's all roses from here. But it's great to see all the young guys getting picked and performing and putting in the shifts that they did. It gives me a lot of hope for the future for England and English rugby in general. Yeah, it feels like it's going in the right direction. If there's a World Cup tomorrow, are we getting even close to winning? No. But we've got, 3 and a bit years now to the next World Cup. Plenty of young guys in the squad. And that's what Borthwick's doing. He's building a team. The original plan for the World Cup was try and compete as much as you can, which I think they did very well. And now the plan is to build the team for the future. And I think that's starting to go well as well. And I just want this capped off with a good performance against France. Let's not end on a questionable, sour note. Let's not end with more questions. Let's go in and have the same intent that we had today. Because honestly, that might just put on a sour taste of such a great performance against a really, really good team, which Ireland are. If you're Ireland, it was always going to be a challenge to win 2 Grand Slams in a row. It's an almost impossible task for no matter how talented a team that you have. So they're more than likely going to win the competition anyway. They're 4 points ahead. So they would have to lose and England get a bonus point win and also score like 90 points. So they're more than likely going to win the Six Nations. And it's a big congratulations to them. You know, it's one game out of a Six Nations competition, out of 10 games that you've lost. I think you're more than likely probably going to be winning against next week against Scotland, although that's not for certain. Although Scotland, I don't know, they looked a bit dicey against Italy. They seem to just be able to fall away in games, and Ireland will punish you with if you do that, and is exactly what England didn't do today. So, yeah, happiest I've been about England since the semi-final. More positive I felt about them in many years, to be honest, in terms of the future. Anyway, that's it for me. Hell of a game. I can't wait to see what England do next weekend.